Good morning. So today I'm visiting what remains of Liverpool Castle. However, I'm not in Liverpool, I'm in Rivington in Lancashire. The original castle stood in Derby Square on a high plateau near the waterfront, but is long gone, to be replaced by the Liverpool Law Courts. The replica in Rivington was the brainchild of William Lever, a wealthy local businessman. Enjoy. Good morning. So today we stood on Castle Street. Got the town hall at the bottom there, at the junction of Castle Street, James Street and Lord Street, and just in front of us is Derby Square. And if you were stood here about 800 years ago, around 1232, you'd be looking at a castle. And I'll put some of the images up now. So stood in the place of the castle today is the Queen Victoria Monument. And basically the castle stood here right up until 1734. And these law courts, they were built in 1976. But I'd say 800 years ago, this was very, very different scene. So the castle stood here for around 1232, up until 1734 when it was completely demolished. It was then replaced by a church called St George's Church, which stood for the next 170 years or so until 1902, when the Queen Victoria statue, which we see in front of us, or the monument rather, was erected. So there's a plaque here just on the side of the Queen Victoria Monument that tells us that the castle once stood here. And there are more clues around if we look. We've got a building called Castlemore's House. So if you do plan to visit the castle or Rivington Pikes for that matter, if you postcode BL67SB and either of these three car parks, so just on your left there's a visitor centre with information centre, and there's toilets. That's Rivington Hall Road, and you just turn right from the visitor centre onto this pathway, and then the castle should be only about half a mile away. Like 10-minute stroll, hopefully. So although we're 30 miles away from Liverpool, we're here to see the ruins of Liverpool Castle. What it actually is a replica of the ruins of Liverpool Castle, and it was construction began in 1912 by William Lever, who was a local wealthy landowner. He built Port Sunlight on the Wirral out of the proceeds from his soap factory. He was obviously very rich. It's an entire estate. In fact, I think we're on his estate at the minute. But yeah, so he set out to build a castle of a replica of the ruins, and unfortunately it was never finished, because in 1925 he passed away and construction stopped, and it's heavily vandalised, as I'm sure we'll see when we get up there, which is shocking, to be honest with you, especially seeing as it's a grade 2 listed building. I think it's currently maintained by United Utilities, and I'm not sure if that's simply because it's on their land, because there's a reservoir just to our right here. You may be able to see through the trees. Just the usual warning about the pathway. It is literally a bog. Make sure you've got sunsets on your feet. But yeah, and it's slippy as hell. I'm still right though, and that's the first. I have been lost though, I'm not going to lie. Although that's not entirely my fault, because I did plan to possibly go up Rivington Pike here while I was here, but unfortunately time's against us this morning. So you may well be able to see, just poking its face through the woods there, is one of the towers of the castle. So I'm not really sure what to expect because I've never been before. So what we see today is it's not really a replica of the castle. It's more a replica of the ruins of the castle, or at least as William Lever saw it, or didn't see it, probably from pictures, because castle was long gone I think before he was with us. So we're just coming through the main gateway now by the looks of things, and into the castle grounds. What looks like the remains of a fireplace there. Unfortunately, it looks like the tower itself is blocked off at the minute. No idea why, whether it's flooded or what, or just dangerous. But let's go down here. Everywhere's flooded, unfortunately. Yeah, everywhere is flooded. So I think we're coming into what would have been the main banquet hall. And unfortunately you can see what I meant about the graffiti. It's not good, is it? Just no need. No need at all. But it's going to happen because there's no one here to tell them not to, unfortunately. But I think what we'll do in a second, we'll get up in the air, away from the graffiti, and we'll take a look from the air and see what it's like. I don't know if you can see, probably not, the tower on top of Rivington Pike, just ahead of us, which is probably going to be my next video. It was going to be today, but I'd say stuck for time, unfortunately. So I think we'll get the drone up and take a look at the castle from above. So it does look like you can get right down to the reservoir, which you can. So it's a beautiful morning. What a beautiful spot for the castle, eh? So even though it's not obviously a real castle, it's still quite imposing. So that was the story of Liverpool Castle, 30 miles from Liverpool, and a conception of a very wealthy man. But worth a visit there nonetheless. Hope you learned something today. I know I did. See you next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Cheers. See ya.